Hi guys, so today we're going to talk about some simple food chains. And we're talking about simple food chains because when we talk about the life cycle of anything, whether it's a plant or an animal, it needs food. Food, nutrients, is one of the essential things that all living things here on earth need. So I am going to share my screen with you and we are going to go through a little slideshow together. Okay. So, when we talk about food chains, we need to start with talking about what food is. So, food for all living creatures is our source of energy. You get your energy from the food you eat. So, too, animals get their energy from the food they eat. So, where do plants get their energy from? All right, all things need energy. Most animals get their energy from food, and all food chains start with the sun. The sun is where plants get their energy. Plants absorb a lot of energy. It's solar energy. The way we think about solar panels, whether we're thinking about that, like out in a big solar panel field or the solar panels on the roofs of our houses, um, solar energy has been used by plants since the beginning of time. The plants use the solar energy, carbon dioxide, and water, and they make food, sugar for themselves, and then they put out oxygen. So producers use the sun's energy to make their food, and the leftover energy can be transferred to the consumer. Who's a consumer? Well, we are. Animals that eat plants are consumers. So um, I have this lovely picture of cows here. Cows are a big consumer of plants, right? Cows are vegetarians. They eat nothing but plants. Um, so only a small bit of energy is left over after the process of the plant making its own food. So only about 10%. So consumers need to eat a lot of plants to have energy to live, right? Cows need to eat a lot of grass and hay and grains to have enough energy out of their food to keep their body functioning properly. Let's look at some other simple consumers. We got some grasshoppers, right? Bunny rabbits, cows, even shrimp. So a lot of times when we talk about life cycles, we forget to look at things like ponds or oceans, which may have um, producers that are floating algae or phytoplanktons in the water, and those get eaten by our first level consumers, which are shrimps, sometimes little snails, and then they might get eaten by a bigger carnivore. Secondary consumers, of course, are our carnivores, and those are things like frogs. Frogs would eat the grasshoppers. Snakes might, a big snake might eat a bunny. So in this picture, you can see the primary producer is some hay on the ground. The primary consumer is a little field mouse, and the secondary consumer is that owl. And that's kind of how the simple food chain works. A plant will produce food for a primary consumer. That consumer eats that food, gets that energy, and then the secondary consumer eats the first consumer and gets the energy. Um, in the food pyramid or the energy pyramid, energy travels up the pyramid, and each level gets a little bit less energy from the sun. So they have to eat more food to get their energy. So we talk about this as a very much as a linear thing, but I'm going to go into the next time we get together. I'm going to talk about how it doesn't really work in a straight up and down line the way we think of it. But for this lesson, I want you to realize that the energy is produced at the bottom and then taken up into smaller and smaller into that pyramid shape. All right. Um, anyway, when you go outside one of these days, I want you to think about the animals that you see and you hear. What are they eating? What is the food chain that they are involved in? Are you seeing birds that are eating little berries, or a hummingbird even getting the nectar? Um, where is that animal in the food chain? Are you seeing things like crickets or grasshoppers eating the grass and then maybe getting eaten by something else? So think about the animals and where they are in the food chain and where they are in our ecosystem, because every ecosystem is very dependent on all the parts of the food chain to survive. And I will see you soon.